Hey, Jody Holland here with the Psyche of Success. I want to talk to you today on the vlog about coaching for performance. I don't know if you've had the same experience as me, but anytime you've had an employee, you think, God, how do I help them become more successful? My personal mission my entire life, or at least the last 17 and a half years of my life that I've been in business, is to reach into people's lives, find their potential, pull it to the surface, and get paid for it. So that's my personal mission statement. As we talk about coaching for performance, what we're really talking about is how do you bring that success right here to the table and make them succeed. I want to make sure that you look in the description, sign up to subscribe to this vlog. Make sure you also go to Facebook and like Jody Holland Training and Speaking. Follow me on Twitter at Jody and Holland, and I'll help you find the success that you're looking for. Also, if you haven't picked up the book, Yay, I'm a Supervisor. Oh man, I'm a supervisor, now what? You need to go out and get that on Amazon or look for it on Audible in audio format. Excited to help you find the success that you're looking for. Today, as we talk about coaching for performance, what we're really talking about is how do I get people to look at me as their boss and go, I want to follow you. If you look over the generations, what you realize is the definition of being in charge has shifted pretty significantly. You look back at traditionalists and baby boomers, if you had a job title, you're in charge. And I will automatically give you respect because you're in charge. Job title doesn't mean that much anymore. Looking with Generation Xers, with the millennials, even with Generation Z, they look at a job title and go, so? I don't really care. And they're looking at it because it doesn't matter. What they care about is, what is the reason I have for respecting you? So we start with that job title. The next type of authority that we have is expertise. If you look at people who, let's say, have a master's degree in psychology versus a bachelor's degree in psychology, you would look at the person with the master's degree and go, you must be more of an expert in psychology because you've got that degree. Same thing if you've got a nurse that has a BSN versus someone who's just a CNA. Well, a CNA is still very talented at what they do and they've got a lot of responsibility, but they don't have that BSN. So they're not as much of an expert in that field. We look at those people that are experts and we go, well, they must have something to offer because they've got more education, more training, more experience in that area. That expertise still has a lot of pull in this world. Unfortunately though, thanks to the internet, a lot of people go, well, I watched 5 episodes of something and now I'm an expert. So they think they're an expert because they just looked a little bit. I asked one of my professors in college, what does it mean to be an expert? How many books do I have to read on a subject to be an expert? Their response, this is my sophomore year, 1991, they said you must read at least 100 books to be an expert. 100 books? That's a lot of books. At that point, I think I had read 4. And I was required to read all 4 of those, and they were all in junior high. I have read now over 500 books on management and leadership. Recently in Inc. magazine, I read an article that they said, we believe you've got solid expertise if you've read 3 books. So I'm looking at it and going, okay, expertise has changed in definition over the last 25 years, but the simple truth is you're an expert compared to. So you're always comparing to what somebody else knows to know if you have expertise in an area. We automatically give people a little respect if they know more than what we know. The next type of expertise, or the next type of authority, is contract authority. When I come into an organization as a keynote speaker or as a trainer, they will go, ooh, we contracted with Jody Holland, so he must have the authority that he should have. You will know within 30 minutes of dealing with a person whether or not that was a good idea. I've seen a lot of people who go, okay, we contracted with him, and then we think, oh my gosh, what were we thinking? We shouldn't have contracted with them at all. We take away the authority if they don't demonstrate that they deserve that authority. The one type of authority that really matters, and it has mattered for every generation though, is relationship. When you go into an organization and you develop a relationship as a leader with your people, you have earned their respect. In the past, it was, you deserve respect and I have to earn your respect as my boss. Flip-flop that now. With the Generation Xers, the Millennials, and Generation Z, they come in saying, you have to earn my respect to be my boss. So it's a different perspective on what it means to have authority. I developed a process called the SOFT model for the way that you would coach people. It's set clear expectations, observe behaviors, follow the process, and teach them to self-lead. As we are setting clear expectations, you have 3 basic questions that you've got to answer. What do you want done? When do you want it done by? And how will you measure its success? Back in 1997, a long time ago, I was a volunteer at the Boy Scout National Jamboree. I was in charge of the sub-camp youth staff. Now that is not an easy job because you're dealing with people that are 18 and under that are your staff, and you're responsible for getting a lot of stuff done. We were basically the gophers and the do what I tell you kind of crew. I get there, and the guy that's running the sub camp, I think his name was Steve, he said, I want you to leave the flag up. Don't take it down. We've got a spotlight on it. Do the flag ceremony to get it put up, and then it stays there for the whole time we're here. Yes, sir, we got it. And so we did. A little bit later that evening, that first evening there, another guy, I know his name was Harold, he comes along and he says, are you guys stupid? I'm like, okay, is this a trick question? Because no, I don't think we're stupid, but what are you referencing? First thing he did not set a clear expectation. He said, this is horrible what you're doing. You're supposed to be doing the flag ceremony every day, morning and night. Take it down at night, put it up in the morning. Okay, but Steve is our boss and he said to do this. No. I'm your boss's boss. Do what I tell you to do. So now we have a jumbled expectation and we don't really know what we're supposed to be doing. So yes, sir, we took the flag down, did the ceremony, everything exactly like we were supposed to. The next morning, guess what happens? Steve barges into the tent where all of us are and says, you guys are stupid, aren't you? Well, no, we're not. We're following instructions. What are you referencing? You took the flag down. It is 6 a.m. I want the flag back up. The flag should have been up the whole time. So I did what I knew to do and said, look, if you'll tell me what you want done, when you want it done by, and how you're going to measure our success, we will knock it out of the park every time. I was always a top performer. I will continue to always be a top performer. And he said, I want this. So Harold said that, can the two of you visit and tell us what we're supposed to do? It doesn't matter what he said, what matters is what I say. So I went to the tent where they were a little bit later after doing the flag ceremony and said, I'm not leaving until you make it clear what you want us to do. We don't care. We just want to know what's expected. So many of our employees, when we tell them things like, work hard, what does that mean? For me, work hard means 60, 70, 80 hours a week. For somebody else, it's, you know what, I was here like by 8:15. That was impressive. I know I was scheduled at 8, but 8:15. So we have different definitions. So be clear, describe the behaviors, how you're going to measure them, when you need things done. ASAP and yesterday are not time frames. Those are not even possibilities. If you need it done by Tuesday at 2 p.m., say I need it done at Tuesday by 2 p.m. That is when. Describe what you want done and how you're going to measure it. If it's a change or something different, add one more thing in there. Why do you need this done? So the second piece of the SOFT model is observe behaviors. A person's behaviors ultimately reflect their beliefs. Remember, working backwards, behaviors or actions tell you what they're thinking. What they're thinking tell you what they believe. In that belief loop getting to results, we can only change them if we change beliefs. So think about their behaviors as a reflection of their beliefs. Look for any abnormalities that might exist. If a person is normally this one way and one day they're completely different than that, you need to have a conversation with them about why they're different today than what they were before. Even if it's a good behavior versus a bad behavior, or if it's a bad behavior versus a good behavior, have the conversation. Hey, I noticed that you did X. Describe the behavior. It's different than your normal. Normally you had been doing this. Help me understand what process you followed that got you to this different behavior and a different result. As you address behaviors, address them related to the outcomes that they're getting. So when you're observing behaviors, you're looking for the rest of that loop forward and going backwards. Beliefs create thoughts, create behaviors, create results. When you follow the process, there are 4 S's in the process. You're setting the stage. So when you're coaching a person, you say, I want you to understand, I want you here, I'm proud of having you here, I only want the very best for you. When I'm called in to coach within an organization, I always let people know, I can't change you and I'm not going to try. What I'm going to do is help you understand where you're at and help you come up with where you want to be and what you want to be known for. My job is to facilitate you becoming as successful as possible. That's how I set the stage. The second S is a stepped walkthrough of what happened. I want to know from start to finish, what were each of the steps along the way that got us the result that we have? I'm trying to track each decision point along that path. The third thing, and this one's pretty important, I'm seeking a point of attribution or a point of explanation. So I'm going to ask the question, at what point could you have done something different that would have gotten us the good result we wanted instead of the bad result we have? When I ask that, what I'm doing is I'm putting in their mind, you made a choice. I'm helping them understand an internal attribution or an internal explanation. The final S in there is set up their ownership for the future. When I'm setting up their ownership, I'm saying, what can you do next time and what will you do next time in order to get the right result instead of the wrong result? By explaining it in that manner, what I'm doing is I'm putting it in their mind that they get to make their next choice as well. If they understand that they made a choice on that path and they're responsible for the next one, then I have massively increased the likelihood of them doing it right moving forward. When I'm teaching them to self-lead, that last piece of the soft model, what I'm doing, and I did this originally out of frustration with a client in East Texas, I drew a circle on a piece of paper and I said, this is you right here in the middle. And then I drew another circle over here and another one and another one and another one. So I had 5 circles around this person. I said, I want you to fill in the blanks. Who are the 5 most influential people in your working life related to your success or your failure? Who has the greatest impact? And I had them fill in those blanks. And then I said, okay, looking at each of those people, let's start with number 1. Who has the greatest impact? And they picked the person that had the greatest impact. And then I said, what can you do today, right now, in order to improve that relationship a little bit? Remember, ultimately, retention and performance come back to relationship. They came up with what they could do. They said, I could do this. I said, great. Now, next most important. They picked that person. What can you do today in the next 24 hours to improve that relationship? I went around all 5 of those key people, and then she had an idea and a game plan of what she could do today to make all 5 of those relationships better. I said, we're going to meet again tomorrow. I want to know how that turned out, and then I want to know what you're going to do tomorrow to improve each of those relationships. We did that for 3 days in a row of meetings, and then I assigned for the next 30 days, every single day, do something to improve those relationships. What I was doing was building that relational model, and I was making her think, I'm in charge of me, and I'm in charge of my success. So keeping that attribution internal, I'm in control, instead of external, not my fault, I have no control, allowed her over the next 30 days to massively turn those relationships around and to be considered a superstar in her job. She was already really good at the skill of her job. She was just really bad at the human interaction piece. Most of the time when we are firing people, it is because of personality clashes related to relational skills. So teaching her to self-lead kept her in charge of herself and her choices, and then I helped her position, what can I do each day to make this better? By doing that and focusing on that, she was self-leading. That soft model is absolutely critical. Set a clear set of expectations, observe behaviors and address when necessary, follow the process, and teach them to self-lead. If you'll do that, what you'll find as you're coaching, people naturally get better and better at their job. I'm just going to say this as I wrap this up. Progressive discipline has never once in the history of mankind turned a chronic rule breaker into a top performer. It doesn't work. Progressive discipline is designed to get rid of people. You know, verbal warning, written warning, suspension, termination, those things that are in your employee handbook. Those are important when people are not listening to you as a coach. But you've got to try coaching first. If you haven't done your part as a coach, you can't hold them accountable for what they're doing wrong. So I would just encourage you, pick up the book. Yay, I'm a supervisor. Oh man, I'm a supervisor, now what? Go to jodyholland.com/yaysupervisor.html and make sure you answer those questions because it'll teach you how to apply this. Do a book study within your group. Go to Audible and buy it if you prefer it on audio, or buy it in hard copy, or even on Kindle if that's your preference. I can't wait to help you find the success that you're looking for. Just as an added, I would love for you to email me any questions that you might have that you would like to see on one of the other episodes of the vlog. If you're having trouble with coaching or communication or any of the topics that we're covering, send me your questions and I will address them on the show and help you figure out how to overcome those challenges. Can't wait to hear from you. Make sure you look in the description, follow the vlog, and I mean subscribe, not just watch it. Follow me on Twitter at Jody and Holland, and also make sure you like me on Facebook at Jody Holland Training and Speaking. Can't wait to see you next time. I'm Jody Holland with the Psyche of Success.